personal story. I can tell you firsthand that it's not always easy. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I have been successful throughout my political career. In spite of my relative youth, I'm one of the youngest women currently serving in Congress now. A handful of moms with children 10 years old or younger. Not a lot of us, because it's a struggle. It's difficult to balance work and family, and that's why we need the voices, more voices added at every level of public office. But the story Sarah wants me to share with you is when I first ran for Congress. People always ask me, how do you do it? I've got 3 kids and a husband and 3 dogs and a cat and an SUV, a very busy life. It isn't always easy, and I have to really work at making sure that I balance everything. And I'm very fortunate to be married to a very supportive husband. But the first time I ran against this woman for Congress who decided to make the signature message of her campaign was that you could be a good mom or a good member of Congress, but you couldn't be both at the same time. She spent her whole campaign accusing me of being a bad mother, that there was no way that I could be a good member of Congress and a good mom. And, look, you never take anything for granted. I work really hard in my district. I've always prided myself on being a grassroots legislator, and I know, my constituents watched me grow up. I've spent my whole adult life really serving in public office, and knocked on almost every door in my district, so people know me. But you still want to make sure that they know that you're not taking them for granted. So during the campaign, she spent the whole campaign accusing me of being a bad mother. That was her message the whole time. But I studiously ignored her and talked about the issues that I thought were important to people in my district. Expanding access to health care, making government more responsive to people's needs, improving the quality of public education, addressing global warming and climate change, dealing with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and trying to get us at the time out of those wars and focused on some of the real threats like terrorism that we were facing. So that's what I talked about during the campaign. Until one day, the reporter, it was hard to get, it's a very Democratic district, so getting the press to pay attention to my race was not that easy, because they were paying attention to the more interesting races. So the reporter in my race calls me one day at home and says, "Debbie, your opponent has been pressing me to write a story, and I'm going to put a little blurb in the paper over the weekend on this. She said that at your last candidate forum, you used a crayon to take notes." And a peach crayon, she noted the color, a peach crayon to take notes during the Q&A. And I remembered, because I didn't have a pen. The only thing I had was a crayon. 3 little kids. I always have crayons. So she said, "Well, your opponent says that that's an example of the frazzled life that you now lead, and how it's demonstrative of the fact that you're not going to be able to do both jobs because you wrote with a crayon." Okay, well, I can tell you that I was done ignoring her. I was done not commenting, because you can say anything you want about me, but not question my quality as a parent. There are several people that matters to: my children and my husband. That's who gets to comment and hold me accountable on whether or not I'm being a good parent or not. And my constituents should hold me accountable on whether I'm a good elected official. That's how that division of responsibility works. So I said to the reporter, and I was never one of those people that was, when I was a kid, was really good at the comebacks. I was always one of the ones who was walking by saying, "God, I should have said that." So I'm a little better at it now. You may have noticed. So I told the reporter, "Look, I want you to write this down exactly as I'm going to tell it to you, because I want to make sure that this is in the paper exactly the way I'm going to say it. The only thing that shows is that I didn't have a pen. And as a mom, I'm often without a pen, but I am never without a crayon." And she wrote it down just like that. And I got so many atta-girls. "I know exactly what you mean. I never have a pen, but I always have a crayon." In fact, today, it happened just this morning. I was at a Florida congressional delegation briefing. I could not find the pen that I liked. I had some scratchy pen that didn't have a lot of ink. What did I have? My trusty blue crayon. I took notes with a crayon this morning. In fact, Sarah tried to give me a pen, but I didn't. I figured, you know what? I'm going to be loyal to my crayon.